Research Professional has spent more than 20 years creating the most comprehensive database of research policy news and funding opportunities. From EU programs to small private foundations, Research Professional helps you locate the best funding opportunities to fund your research. Our database contains over 20,000 calls worldwide, and results are pre-filtered, so you will only see opportunities that your institution is eligible to apply for. But time is valuable, and Research Professional helps your research office be more efficient by allowing you to share information effortlessly. With email alerts, links to calendars and newsletters, we can help you get the right information to the right people at the right time. Our dedicated news section is the only media outlet where you can find research-specific policy updates reported live by our research journalists. Our news team provides regional, national and international coverage of government departments and funding agencies. Discover more about Research Professional by visiting our website at exlibrusgroup.com/discover-RP.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another EARMA digital event, another coffee with session. And well, of course, first of all, thank you for being here, for attending this event. We hope you really find it informative and useful. The objective of this specific session are to share views on the current mentorship program under the CRM scheme, but also to assess your interest in expanding the mentorship scheme within EARMA. So to this end, we will have the precious contribution of experienced mentors and mentees. So we have with us Ellen Cheng, Tina Lewis as mentors, and Susie Cullinan and Dulce Tienda Martagon as former mentees. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to join us and to show to share with us your experience and your opinions. But we'll first start with an introduction to mentorship by Johanna, who you all know for sure, with the participation of Stefania Grotti and Stefania Suevo. Then we will move on to a discussion with our guests and with the audience, with you. And we expect you to participate actively in this session. So the session will be moderated by myself and by Christina. So without more delays, let's start with Johanna's presentation, please. Just a note, the session is being recorded for EARMA's digital library. We hope that you all agree with that you are fine with that. So Johanna, please start.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jose. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us today. So I will introduce you to mentoring a little bit, and then hand over to Stefania Grotti and Stefania Suevo to take it more to the RMA world. So first, maybe you're wondering why I'm the one who is introducing you to mentoring today. So just to briefly say, basically, I've been for many years already been a certified life and career coach. I also train new coaches, and you'll see in a minute how coaching feeds into this as well. And then I studied at the University of Cambridge at Mary Edwards College, and there I'm still very involved with the mentorship program. I'm one of the people who build it, and I'm also a mentor and mentee there. And I'm just in general very passionate about mentoring. So yeah, I hope you'll be as well after today's event. So, moving on. So let's go to coaching and why I mentioned that in my introduction. So coaching is a part of mentoring actually, and you'll see it on the next slide. But what does coaching actually mean, and what's the difference between coaching and mentoring, just very briefly? So normally when we speak about coaching, there's a trained professional that's the coach, working with a coachee who can be from a completely different walk of life, a completely different background. And there's a certain system of questions that we use as coaches to guide our coachees and to help them basically find the answers within themselves. So as coaches, we are listening a lot, and we are not really giving advice. And we are also not talking about ourselves. We are just guiding with the questions. And mentoring, you see here, actually coaching is one of the elements. So as mentors, we do also listen a lot, and we try to guide our mentees with questions, but we also do a lot more different things. So actually, I love this one quote that I put here on the side. Maybe you can see it. So I'll read it to you just for a second, because I think it sums it up very nicely. So it's: mentoring is a voluntary but formal arrangement whereby an experienced individual outside the reporting relationship holds regular meetings and discussions and takes a personal interest in guiding and supporting the development of a less experienced person in progressing within and beyond their immediate role. So I think this sums it up really well. So it's someone from the outside who supports you in all kinds of meetings. And if we go back here to the picture, we see one is of course coaching, and we work towards a goal. The mentor can help guide, find your direction, guide in the direction, support you. But there's also, in addition to coaching, the element of training, if applicable, and also giving advice. So you're not completely on the outside as a mentor, just looking in and asking questions, but you might, where applicable, also give some tips and share your own experience. So I'm not sure what's moving forward. Okay, then going a little bit more into what's actually required from a mentor, and you'll have a chance soon to say actually what's important for you and what you think are the, what's most needed from a mentor. But just to give you a little bit of an insight here. So of course, a mentor is a lot of things. We just saw that on the previous slide, and it's someone who challenges you maybe. So it doesn't just say, doesn't just try to say, okay, everything's already good, but see where can we maybe go from here? How can we grow, and how can I best support you in that? Of course, someone a little bit more experienced, so you can ask questions and learn from their experience as well. So usually someone who has experienced something similar to you as well, which is different from coaching. And then they support you, they listen, they very much care about your success as well. And and with answer, we here guide you towards the answer. I really like that as well. So it's not just giving you the answer, but they really help you, maybe even using coaching questions to guide you towards the answer, or to help you find the answer within yourself. And then they might give you feedback, constructive feedback to help you move forward. And of course, it's important, like in every relationship, that there's also respect. All right. Then why is it actually good to be a mentor? So one very important question of this meeting: why should you be a mentor? You definitely should. So I put here that there are benefits actually for mentors is a very important part of a mentoring program, I think, because sometimes we think only about the mentees and how can we support them and so on, but it's really important that the mentors also understand why it's good for them, and also that we can ideally offer something for them as well. So maybe a little bit of training, or that's maybe to be discussed, but it's always good if they have something great to get out of it as well. So things that they definitely get out of it always is, of course, an expansion of their network. They might be even the mentor of someone from a different country, a different institution. They make a difference in someone's life. And of course, it's also just a good feeling to help someone who is maybe going through what you went through a while ago. And then, of course, your perspective can be broadened, and you can add it to your CV. You'll probably learn something from your mentee too. And of course, you can work on your skills as a leader, a trainer, advisor, coach, listener, really a lot of different skills. And then mentees, of course, they get a lot of benefits having this experienced person working with them. So it's very important that we as mentees bring something to the relationship as well, so we can be proactive, make sure that we are there when we agree to meet, that we prepare the meeting so we can get the most out of them, that we are open actually, because I think one of the important things also being open to it. If you sign up and have a mentor, but actually you're not really open to hearing any feedback or have outside advice, it probably is not very useful. You have to be willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to listen, and respect also the mentor's time, and help the mentor as well, of course, if you can in any way. It can go both ways in some way as well, I think. And then why is it good to have a mentor? So I guess great to have someone who is more senior to you, someone you can look up to. You saw on the previous slide, mentors can be, or often seen, kind of like role models, can be newly inspired and find more motivation just to see what they've done, to learn from their experiences, to have their support. and they can help you to really get clear on your goals. And yeah, of course, you'll understand maybe a little bit better how your career path may look as well, if before you were unsure. It's someone you probably normally wouldn't meet, and it's really nice not to have someone who's not directly in your team. It's also not a friend, it's also not your partner, but from the outside, but still having walked kind of a similar path before. And yeah, it's always great to have someone to speak to and bounce off ideas in a safe environment where you know, and confidentiality is very important, where you know everything is safe and you can ask anything. So important to have a good relationship as well. Then I always recommend, I don't know if the CRM is doing it right now, to have a mentoring agreement, so that you see on the outset kind of, yeah, how will we conduct our meetings? How often will we meet? How much time will we spend in each meeting? What do we do if a meeting is canceled or rescheduled? How do we communicate maybe even between meetings? And really set clear objectives, make sure that everything is kind of decided, maybe you even sign it, so that it's really clear from both sides, also how the information is protected and how you interact with each other. Because like this, it's normally, like for any relationship that's in a kind of professional way, it's very nice to have everything set out like this, so nobody is disappointed or expects anything that they won't get, and so nobody can be disappointed. So I can send actually examples if somebody is interested. And then I won't take you through all of them, but I think because we have a lot of things to cover, but I can share this with you after the event in the post-event email if you're interested. That's why I put actually a lot of text in case you want to reread it. But here, just the first thing I would like to point out. So I think as a mentor and as a mentee as well, but particularly also as a mentor, it's really important to only be a mentor if you really want to be one, and if you're willing to be committed and put the time into it, and really, yeah, put the energy to help your mentee as best as you can. So I hope this inspired you to think a little bit about mentoring, about the different roles. And I would love to hand over to Stefania Suevo and Stefania Grotti, who will share their presentation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you. Thank you, Johanna. I share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yes, Stefania, then I start. Good morning, everybody. I'm Stefania Grotti, and I'm here with Stefania Suevo, and we are very excited to share our experience in mentorship here at Politecnico di Milano. What is really important, talking on staff organization, is really important and to prepare a challenging process and create a strategic path. Absolutely, as mentor, you have then to plan a strategic management organization and thinking about your staff and how do you will deal then with your staff. How we can do that? It's with new impulse and continuously also think and plan absolutely continuously, as Johanna said, and plan the meetings and plan the process that you will then follow, and have very concrete challenging goals also. This is a big challenge because you need absolutely to obtain and to get the maximum from the existing profile that you have. Here, for example, we start many years ago with few people, and now with no more than 25 people in the office. It's absolutely really important another vocation of everybody, because some of people are better in public relation, other people can better work with only working alone in the office. And it's absolutely really important to have an active continuous exchange activities between the mentors and the mentees in order to understand how you can then support the mentees and how you can then find absolutely then fill the gaps that you have. Stefania.
Thank you. So the key point, what is the key point? For sure, you should have, and you are part of an organization, but the organizational chart should be clear in order to organize all the competencies in the office, and also because so you can understand exactly what are the needs. So what is needed? For sure, a clear strategy, as Stefania said. You have also to identify all the areas of interest of the people that work in an office in order to to understand if they need mentorship or not, and which kind of mentorship. You have also to identify all the skills and the competencies that are already available in the office. You need a clear asset management model. You need also to look at specific goals and which is the perfect mix. The perfect mix is competence plus commitment plus contribution. This means that the competence of a specific person in an office, together with the commitment of this colleague and the real contribution that the person can provide to the institution are really the perfect mix for the office organization. How to improve these competencies. On the left, you can see that we have, that I've put in a circle, some personal elements that are awareness, motivation, and will, but also training, appropriate training. But for what concerns training, we just have to remember the rule related to the 70-20-10. What does it mean? 70% are normally the competencies that are acquired thanks to the experience-based development. So task delegation, cross-cutting project, job rotation, and in general, learning by doing. The 10%, only the 10% is the training-based development for all the people that start a new activity. So you can try to organize several training sessions, but the most important things all are always related to the activity that is done every day. And the 20% is important because it's related to relationship. And in this case, we can also say that mentorship is one of these elements. Have a mentor can be, in fact, an added value to speed competencies acquisition and also to have an external point of view. Thank you very much. We pass the floor again to the chair.
Thank you, Stefania and Johanna. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation and an interesting introduction to mentoring and its context and general benefits.
So now may I introduce the next part of the session. We are going to start the discussion with our invited CRM mentors and mentees today. But first, we would like to invite you to the audience to give us your insights on this through a live poll, a very easy way to introduce this topic. With the Mentimeter cloud word cloud system. So I think Johanna already put the link to the Mentee in the chat. You will find the specific link. It's very easy to get in. I guess most of you already participated before. So you just have to enter the code. I see they are already some popping in words. So the question it's, as you can see, so what do you expect from a mentor or mentee? Just in one word, depending on your role, of course. And I think you can write more than one word if it pops up as a brainstorm in your mind. So we can see what's your opinion on this, and we can start discussing from this point of view. So I see inspiration is the most common popping up word. Guidance is also important. Support, advice. I think our previous speakers already talked about that, and then the very illustrating and motivating presentations. So I think this would be one of the key points of these topics. So you would see now advice, support, and inspiration are the most common and the most important relevant topics now. So I think you have a lot of ideas here coming coming up. Feedback, motivation, you can see, experience, trust, very interesting. And it's very fascinating to see. It's a lot of adjectives coming up in this.
And
so,
much in line with our previous presentations, definitely. So
yes, that's right. So I guess maybe there's a lot of things coming up. So maybe we can go on and give the floor to our invited speakers and see what they think about this and what are their experiences on this mentoring scheme, and see if they really think these are the most common adjectives or terms that really are they supporting this mentorship. So thank you today to Tina, Ellen, for being with us as mentors, and Dulce and Susie as mentees. So I'll give you the floor to comment on these words and see what's your experience. So maybe who would like to start, Tina or Ellen as mentors?
Sure, I'm happy to start if that's okay. So my name is Anne Schenk. I'm Director of Research and Education at the Holland Prototherapy Center in Delft, the Netherlands. And I'm currently in the middle of mentoring a mentee who started the CRM 2019. And I think all the words that I see in this word cloud are really truly valid, and they all apply. But what I've experienced in the past 2 years is an important word called commitment. And commitment sounds so logical, but there are risk factors that really can bring commitment into or a danger, so to say. And I will not take too much of the time because I want to leave the floor to the other speakers as well. But when we had the first assignment submitted, at least the mentee submitted the first assignment, we entered in this big COVID-19 pandemic. We both changed jobs during the pandemic, and then it's very difficult to keep the commitment alive. So I think commitment is a very critical factor here. And not necessarily an expectation, but more a factor for success is also stability. If you have an unstable life for whatever reason, then it becomes a real challenge. So that's what I would like to add to this word cloud. Thank you.
If I could continue on that note, my name is Tina Lewis. And I'm from the University of Copenhagen. I have a double role. I'm head of our Research and Innovation Office, as well as head of Student Affairs and Education at the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. It was a great honor to be a mentor. And perhaps it was before the contract time and before things were very defined. It was before Corona. And I think that I would quite agree with with the words on the cloud. One thing I found that is important is to actual set up. When does a mentorship relationship start and when finish? Because I don't think we were quite clear on ours in terms of the commitment period. I'd also like to say that I quite appreciated Johanna on your slides when you said that one becomes a fan of one's mentee. Because the one thing I wanted to see was to have my mentee achieve success, and that gives great satisfaction. And how could I contribute to that? If I was to put a couple of words on what I think could be improved, it's the actual expectations towards either the content of the study. I think one should be careful that the mentor doesn't become a supervisor or feel or is put in a position of responsibility to the content of the units. And I can see you've got that in the mentorship guide today. I think that's very important, especially because it's not certain that a mentor is actually competent to have that role. And in that respect, I found myself quite incompetent.
So thank you so much, Tina. So now maybe Susie, could you keep on and tell us from the other point of view, from the mentee point of view, what do you think about it?
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Susie Cullinan. I have worked in Waterford Institute of Technology, which is in the southeast of Ireland, for the past 22 years. I was managing the research support unit, and in the last 10 months, I've been working on institutionally driven research projects in the development of new IT systems and support systems for WIT. Projects include the development of a current research information system, so a CRIS, which actually I found out about when I did one of the modules as part of the EARMA CRM. So I've been talking about this to management for the past 2 years, and I've eventually managing the implementation, also a grant management system and a CRM. So lots of different kind of implementations of IT systems to support our research community. I commenced the EARMA CRM in November 2016, actually, and completed in May 2018. It seems like an awful long time ago now at this stage, after nearly 2 years of a pandemic in between. But it obviously didn't scare me off, because I'm currently doing a master's in project and program management with the University of Limerick. And the CRM was really my first step back into education after a long time. So I obviously had a very good experience there. With regard to the what to expect, I suppose, as a mentee in the program, I suppose my biggest thing was support. You know, somebody who could support me through the program, because as I said, it was years since I had done any formal learning prior to that. So, you know, someone who could support me through the process so that it didn't seem so daunting. And somebody who was there to motivate me. I like the word motivation there in the list as well. Someone who's going to motivate me through the hard times, because we're all working full time and it's difficult to do this on top of your full-time job. And we know being a research manager or an officer is not a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job either. And somebody who's willing to share their research experiences or share their experiences with me, because sometimes we can be so insular. And that's why I really enjoyed Johanna's presentation about making sure that a mentor was from outside your organization, because I actually had a bit of an issue when I chose my mentor, who was from a different university. My boss was wondering why I didn't choose her, and was, you know, quite annoyed that I didn't choose her to mentor me. But it's really good to see that validation that it should be somebody that you're not, you know, reporting into. So I think that's really important as well. So I'll leave it there.
So thank you, Susie. So now, Dulce, would you like to follow up on this?
Sure. Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this session. And thank you, EARMA, for putting this together, because I think it's a very good initiative to develop on what's already been done in EARMA, which is a lot, but I think a lot more and more consistently could be done in this side of career development, which is a mentorship program. I think it is crucial and basic to have this kind of program for people who share experiences in an association like this one. Of course, my experience was amazing, and it was a key experience, particularly because it started when I started my CRM course. But also at that same time, I was going through a difficult professional situation. I was in a job transition, and my mentor was not only excellent in providing support in the assignments, but also a very good. I don't have an adjective for that, but it was really really good for helping me go through that challenging time, as I said. I don't want to go too much into details, but I would like to say also about the CRM mentorship program that maybe a bit of improvement could be done in regarding the information that is shared between the instructors, the mentors, and the mentees, and the contents of the course, because we need to have some common grounds if we need to develop this program more successfully. So yeah, basically I was looking for a referent of professional excellence, and I did. It met my expectations at all levels. So very happy to have been through this experience. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for giving meaningful thoughts on all these wording, and also sharing your experience, which is really the richness of this topic today.
Yes, that was very, very interesting indeed. Just another short question to our guests, mentors and mentees. Ellen already tackled this a little bit, but what do you think, if you could, can you please summarize what you think are the main challenges of being a mentor or a mentee? So I'd say 10 seconds for each one of you. What do you think are the main challenges in the role of being a mentor or a mentee?
Okay, well, I go first, I don't mind.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay, so I suppose one of the main challenges for me was identifying a suitable mentor, because it's quite daunting to approach somebody, you know, because it is a huge commitment. You're talking about a minimum of an 18-month commitment from somebody that you may not know very personally, because obviously you're looking externally to your organization. So that was the first thing. It was getting up the courage to go and approach somebody, to ask them. But I have to say it was a very positive experience for me. And the person I approached was actually a member of EARMA at the time. So it was wonderful. And, you know, finding somebody who's willing to give you that time, because I think Johanna kind of alluded to it as well, that, you know, it is a huge time commitment from the mentor, but, you know, getting someone, and I've heard lots of students in the past saying that their mentor just wasn't giving them the time commitment. And as Dulce said, it would be good if they understood, you know, their time commitment, and maybe a training program at the outset for both mentors and mentees, obviously separate, would, you know, kind of impart that on them, the amount of time that is required to supporting the students, because I've heard different levels of support for different students across the board. So I'll stop now because I've probably taken up my 20 seconds.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Susie.
Well, I just say that matching expectations is challenging at the beginning, and particularly when you don't know that mentor that you chose at a personal level or professional, because you, as Susie, I chose to have a mentor from a different country, completely from a different culture, different background, which I thought would be more enriching, and it is. But at the beginning, you need to set up the common grounds and the expectations, and that's not easy to do, particularly for me, because it was the first time I was doing as formally as in this program. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dulce. Tina, Ellen, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Aligning expectations is an important aspect of the relationship. And this is in terms of time, both in time for sessions, as well as when does a mentorship relationship start, and when is it complete and underway, what's expected. And obviously, because there's a limited time, and especially if it's with someone from a different country, a different organization, it does take a little bit of time to understand the organization that the mentor, the mentee is in, to understand where we're coming from, what perspectives we have. So I would agree on that.
Thank you, Tina. Alan, I don't know, do you want to add something?
Yes, from my own experience, my current challenge is to bring ourselves back on track. So like I already explained, we both went through some hectic phases related to the Corona crisis, but also job changes. Actually, my mentee did 3 job changes in 1.5 years. So that's, well, you understand where the CRM ends on the priority list there. And actually, it appears that having some triggers to get back on track is really helpful. And this specific event actually triggered us to get back on track. So there's a plan now to how to continue. So I'm really grateful for this event for that purpose as well. And on a very practical level, as a mentor, what I find a bit challenging is the assignments themselves, because you lack the background, you lack the explanation to the assignments. And the way they are formulated, they're pretty broad. So you tend to interpret it in your own way, while you don't have the actual goal or explanation of the trainers during the practical sessions with you. So I find that a bit challenging to keep ourselves on the right track and match with the original assignment.
Thank you, Alan. That's very interesting. And we will take note of the challenges that you mentioned that we can act upon. Well, we are not running late, but we don't have that much time for a session that could last for, well, quite a long. But I think it would be interesting now to have a very short interaction with the audience, with you. So do you have any comments on what you have heard so far about the challenges and, you know, the main expectations from being a mentor or a mentee? Does anyone want to share their thoughts with us? We have 2 minutes for your thoughts. Anyone? Does anyone have any questions?
Maybe.
Yes.
Sorry, Helena, do you want to go first?
No.
Okay. I think what I see now most challenge is really finding a good mentor, especially when it should be outside of your institution. And I think we all have already a small network, but it's still quite limited. It would be, of course, really enjoyable to find somebody outside the country. So for me, I know people within the Netherlands, but it would be, I lack the international network. So that's a bit, right. I think, the biggest challenge for me at the moment, like who probably have to ask my network. So it takes a little bit. So it's one of the biggest challenges, I think, also to find them somebody suitable in another country that can take up that, who is also involved with EARMA, to know a little bit about the institution. So.
Okay, thank you, Felix. So the matching question is quite important, right? Okay, thank you. Helene, please.
It was actually something very similar. So it has been summarized already quite well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Helene. Any other comments, questions, thoughts?
So maybe there will be some more at the end of the session.
I think so, yes.
Continue with this topic. So now we will also like to ask the audience to think about what are the skills a good mentor should have. So we're going to launch another question through the Mentee poll, and then some words will be popping up again. Just what do you think? First thing that comes up to your mind? I'm sure there's a lot of skills related to what we've already seen. That's nice. Leadership, open mind. That's a good word to define it. Patience.
Patience.
Yeah, important for both sides, I guess. Professional, excellence. Yeah. Curiosity. I guess, yes, that's why what you were commenting before, that the difficulty is to find people having all these skills. Or
yes.
Or how do you know that they have them? Maybe. So
Mentor looks like a Superman or a Superwoman.
Yeah,
Come on.
it does.
But definitely leadership and the ability to listen, they stand out.
And definitely there are skills that the research managers already have because of their role in supporting all the researchers. And we also have to be very patient on that.
Communication
so maybe we
skills.
We can start from here and comment of this cloud map.
Yes, we would like to invite our mentors and mentees to comment. What is your opinion on the words that are popping up in terms of skills? Do you agree with this? Do you have any additional skills you'd like to add to this list? Do you disagree completely with it?
No, I think they are all very good and excellent qualities for any professional, and of course for anyone who wants to have an influence on something or on someone. Okay, but I think I would like to. There is one of the adjectives that it didn't come very big, but I think it's the main one. If you want to establish a connection with a person, you need to have empathy. And then you will have a lot of other professional skills. But I think empathy is a key personal quality for a relationship, in any type of relationship, and even in a professional one, I believe. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dulce. That's a word that is also there, but definitely it should be bolder. I agree with you. It should be bolder. Thank you. Susie, Ellen, Tina, do you have any other words you would like to add?
Yeah, no, I suppose my key one there was listening skills of the mentor, because a lot of the time we're just looking for a sounding board, somebody to run our ideas by, that we will ultimately come up with the answer ourselves in a lot of the situations. So it's somebody who has really good listening skills and who can actually let you come up with your own solutions to your problems, at times. So I think that, and it came out quite strong there, actually. I was interested to see that. And the other one for me was being supportive, somebody who can kind of support you through the process. And as you said, we're all in a research support role. So, that should be one of our strong points.
Thank you, Susie. Ellen, Tina, do you want to comment on this word map?
Well, as a mentor, you're setting the bar pretty high with this word cloud, right? So if I would have known this up front, I'm not sure if I would have taken up the job, but I'm just kidding. I think it's all true. And indeed, I fully agree with the most prominent words here. So indeed, listening, communication skills and supportive, if you bring those three together, you're already far ahead. And the rest will come, I think, quite naturally, because it's in our personalities, right? Being RMAs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think if you're looking for a mentor, you shouldn't underestimate that when one's approached to be a mentor, it's an honor. One's proud of it. One like to make an effort. So if you've got a little bit of time and yeah, it's I found it to be an honor, and I was quite happy to spend time doing it. Yeah.
Thank you, Tina. And you don't have to be a superwoman or a superman to become a mentor. That's, I think, the message is clear from
but according to the skills, might be. So I just would like to ask you another question before opening all the floor to the audience, just to comment on something you already mentioned before about these challenges of getting all together with expectations from the mentor and mentee point of view. So what do you think is the best way to connect with the mentee, or the best way to establish this relationship and meet your expectations? How will you get started? So anyone would like to comment on that?
Yes, I can maybe start off. In my case, I think it has been a little bit easier to start off because we are based in the same country, close by, although in different cities and different institutions, and we already knew each other up front. So that makes it very easy to align and get in touch. And because of the short distance, you can meet and have a cup of coffee before the Corona pandemic. Of course, but on the drawback of that is that because we were so much relying on that personal interaction now in the COVID pandemic, we are not used to doing this in a virtual way, and this is where we got stuck a little bit. So that is the drawback of that approach.
I think mine was a little bit different. We were in 2 different countries and 2 very different settings. So the virtual meeting did in fact work out. What could at times be challenging was finding a time during the day. So often it would be late evening or late afternoon to find that time. That was fine. And on a personal note, I'm not a WhatsApp user. So I had to download an app and get used to that. So, but we worked it out.
For me, from the mentees' point of or side of things, I was lucky. Well, it was a 2-hour journey away. I'm in Waterford. My mentor was in Dublin. But I found the one-to-one meetings very, very beneficial. Over a cup of coffee, you know, you feel a little bit more relaxed. I think I think we've all become used to the virtual world now. But 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been as comfortable chatting to somebody with my coffee over the Zoom or Teams meeting. But so for me, I used to make an effort to go to Dublin, but I used to do it at times where we were having meetings in Dublin, you know, separate to that anyway, and we'd fit it in around those meetings. So it worked very well. But I think now we're all very used to, you know, having meetings during Zoom, and it does allow for mentors to be chosen, you know, across Europe. Which when I was doing it, it had to be somebody in Ireland, somebody that could get on a train or a bus and go and visit. But, you know, that's a very different world we live in now, I think.
Thank you, Susie. I tend to agree with you, definitely.
Thank you. Any comments, Dulce? Would you like to share?
No, I had the same experience as Tina. We were talking on the screen like 3 years ago before the pandemic, so it was challenging. I think I would have enjoyed a coffee as well, but that was not possible at the time. But we had the question was, how do you start, or how the beginning of, yes, we had the excuse of the assignments to fulfill for the CRM course, but my mentor was very intelligent and experienced person who had the right questions to ask, and the right questions that would make me think and make me reflect on very important things that I had to do at that time. So it was easy in that way, in spite of the technical or the distance and all those barriers that, of course, they are barriers that you have to sort, but that was my experience.
Thank you. That's really useful. So I guess we can now go to our last question to open the floor to the audience.
Yes, we would like to have your opinion, and just to start with, I would just ask you if would you consider to become an EARMA mentor after all that you heard? Would you consider to be an EARMA mentor? Does anyone want to give his or her opinion?
Okay, I might pop in there if you don't mind.
Sure.
I would absolutely consider it. I think the program proved like really, really beneficial as a mentee. In fact, when I came back, or when I finished the course, I actually set up a Odyssey researcher mentoring program here in WIT, because of the benefits that I found during the mentoring program. And actually, when I started my MSc, I went to somebody internally who I knew had a great experience in research and project management and asked them, would they be my mentor during my MSc, even though that wasn't a requirement of the MSc. But I feel it's always great to have somebody that you can use as a sounding board for ideas.
Thank you, Susan. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Please use the time with our experts.
Concerns, if there's any, why would you do not consider it?
Any suggestions? Any suggestions for improving the mentorship program at EARMA, extending it beyond the CRM? Your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I have some a question or at least something to add. I would like to know about Dulce and Susie's experience, to try to find, as Felix said, or at least for me, the most challenging thing right now that I'm starting a EARMA course, it's finding a mentor. So how was your experience, if it was well received by the putative mentors, and if you have any tips on this process?
Yes, yes, I'd like to share my experience in this case. I had a few days thinking about how to find the right mentor, because I took that very seriously. And I spent some time deciding whether I wanted somebody from my country, from outside my country, from a similar job position, different job position, and so on. The EARMA conference helped me with that, because I had the opportunity to see many speakers. And I spotted the person that I thought was a very successful professional, and I could understand all the work that that person had to do before reaching that stage. And for that reason, it was the only choice I had, basically. So approaching that person was also difficult, because we all know how busy everyone is, particularly people in higher positions. So it was, I had to think about it, how to approach, but I must say, finally, it was just an email, and it was replied very quickly and very positively. So I was very happy. That was it.
Thank you, Dulce. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? I can see here in the chat box that Jan posted two or three interesting topics, like having a more visible pool of potential mentors. That would definitely be interesting. And also, Jan, you mentioned that maybe we could provide some training on mentoring. Is that it? Did I understand it well?
Yes, so as I said in the comment, that I think the difficult questions, the ones where you actually need more to be coaching your mentee rather than being the expert background or having the full knowledge, was a little bit tricky, because if you are not trained in being a coach, I got a little bit stuck and had to fumble my way through some difficult situation with a colleague who had problems with this person's institution at home, for example. So I couldn't help on that, but that it would be great to have had some kind of guidelines, or at least some requests could to in a good way.
Thank you. And so basically, you learned by doing, right? You learned to be a mentor by doing, and some sort of training could be useful. That's very interesting. Thank you for the suggestion. Any other thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I have one. Throughout my career, I've had various mentors at different times, and I've also mentored other people. And in this specific case with the CRM program, it was much more interesting to say yes to being a mentor from someone from a totally different organization from in another country. So I think you should just feel free to approach people. And to EARMA, you may also consider having some sort of mentor list so that people can sign up saying that they'd like to work as a mentor.
Thank you, Tina. Definitely. That's a suggestion that several people made, and it's definitely very useful and relevant. Thank you. Ellen?
Can I maybe answer to a question in the chat by Astrid? She's asking whether the mentor handbook provided by CRM is useful. Yes, it definitely is on a general level, but I think it would be really nice for every assignment that we get some extra information, because if the mentee is not totally sure about the goal or the scope of the assignment, it makes it really difficult based on the information we have to give the right coaching or advice. So that will be a tip from my side to help the mentors a little bit. Yep.
Thank you, Alan. I think Dulce agrees. Peter, you have your hands up.
Yes, thank you. I've got a question about this CRM, because I'm not familiar with the CRM program by EARMA. And I wonder if mentor-menteeship relation should always be linked to this CRM program, or can it be standalone?
Jan, do you want to reply?
So this was part of this, the aim of this session was also to put a finger in the ground of the EARMA membership to see if there was an interest in having a broader mentorship program in EARMA for all EARMA members, not just restricted to the CRM program. So your question is somehow at least confirming that there are somebody out there who wants a broader. Astrid also has a comment on that.
Yes, I think it is a very important comment that you asked. And then I have been listening to all the experience now from Tina and Ellen and Dulce and Susie, and I think they are. It seems like they need something limited and something concrete, something specific to discuss, and something. So the mentor-menteeship should be based on something solid. And then if you just want a mentor for some whatever reason, someone to talk to in general, maybe that is not so well functioning as if you really had something really concrete to discuss. I don't know if that is, if I have interpreted your comments truly, but is that something that you feel also, Tina, Ellen, and Dulce and Susie?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely essential that there's a purpose with the mentorship, and that one should be very clear with oneself when you approach someone to be a mentor. You have to know why. What would you like to get out of it? What's the purpose of it? But then things develop, and all of a sudden, if it's a good relationship, you may end up having another process and another process that you didn't expect when you started out. So that's one also has to be open to that. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. It's also about respect, about empathy, whether you like each other, whether there's some sense of confidentiality, a good framework to develop the mentorship relationship.
Yeah, I fully agree with Tina, and I would also like to refer back to the presentation by Johanna, where she really explained the difference between coaching and mentoring. So mentoring is really on professional content, so you need professional content, otherwise the mentoring system doesn't work. If you are facing experiences more on a personal level or difficulties in your career development, I would definitely recommend go find a coach with whom you really have a match. And that would work far better than a mentoring system.
Thank you. Well, we reached the time limit for our session. I don't know if anyone else has some final comments, thoughts, questions. please feel free. I don't think so. But please feel free to share your opinion with us also outside this session. Send us an email about what you think we should improve, what you think we should at the EARMA we should put in place. That would be, those suggestions will be most welcome. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I think I would like to thank you, Jose, then, and Christina for being our chairs today. Thank you also to our great panelists for all their insights as mentors and mentees. And also actually to all the audience, because I know it was a little bit of a challenge today with the new IT system. So thanks for bearing with us as we were sending all the emails and that you tried your best to join in the new way. We really appreciate it, and that I think pretty much everyone made it. So that's really, really good. And as promised, I will send you a as after all our events, so you'll have the presentation slides. I will also send you the screenshots of the Mentimeter, and really feel free to reach out to me, to all of us with any questions about this. And yeah, I hope you were inspired to mentor or look more into this. See you again soon at another online event. Take care, have a good weekend, everyone, and thank you so, so much.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.